Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanim. So we're going to begin here with a little update from QNB Bank, and it begins as such. Quote, 2022 ended well with continued solid performance results and growth at the bank. Our earnings were the direct result of our core banking operations and were not supported by gains on the sale of investments as in 2021. That's important. They did it outright this time. Stated David W. Freeman, President and Chief Executive Officer, continuing, quote, the quarter also showed improvement in the net interest income and improved margins. Plus, loan outstandings fueled by commercial growth exceeded $1 billion for the first time in the bank's history. You have a healthy bank like this, right? It says total assets as of December 31st, 2022, $1,668,497,000, right? Worth of total assets. Look at these healthy banks we're dealing with. Not to mention, when they experience exponential growth from utilizing the XRPL, we get the flood of that money as well. We're talking consistent growth. Now, I'm gonna put the bank to the side. I'm talking about XRP. We're talking about a possibly consistent rise in price over time, if everything goes according to plan. If, not a guarantee, all right? It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Why do I say that? I'm not just taking QNB, but I'm thinking of QNB in a more overarching way. Why? Because Swift is over with. Swift is done. The world is moving forward toward a place where they won't use weaponized systems. They will not tolerate it. They've gotten to a point of power where they want to be respected, and the United States will not be able to lean on them with a weaponized financial system. Okay, so then who runs it? Who's trusted by everyone across the board? Ripple. Ripple has some ties in China. They're in a good standing. Ripple has ties in India, Africa, Latin America, North America. I mean, they bring everybody together. Do you see where this is going? Then if you keep up with geopolitical news, you see often they've been speaking about a multipolar world. That means there's no true leader in the future. You have to, they sort of have to share power as of right, whereas opposed to right now, the United States has all the power. Let's not kid ourselves. They've had it for quite some time. There's one entity ruling over the entirety of the world, mostly. No, they're moving to a multipolar world, which means you have to have a bridge, an agnostic bridge system, not just currency, system. That's where XRP comes in. XLM, quant, overledger. Now, back to the Swift topic. Swift has how many banks? Look, before I say that, let me say this. We've been very excited over the hundreds of banks that the XRPL has signed up. What is it, like 300, 400 banks? That's nice. That's a lot of banks. That's good. That's good. That's good. Swift has 11,000 that we're going to be able to scoop up. 11,000 banks for the taking. 11,000 banks that need and want to operate around the world where Swift is not welcome. You see where I'm going here? Now, it may take some time. We're going to take a few banks from Swift. At least I'm trying to be reasonable here. What happens we take 2,000 banks from them? I'm being reasonable. They have 11,000. 2,000 is a pretty low number. Let's say we take 2,000. We already have hundreds. So that's not out of the question. What does it do to the price of XRP if that were to occur? I'm just considering all possibilities. There's the possibility we don't do that. But we don't need to worry about that. We can think about that also. But what happens if we do take that? That other scenario is right now. We don't have the thousands. Not that we know of, right? So that's right now. We have the hundreds that we brought in. But what about the others that will not be able to utilize Swift to interact around the world that they used to do? Because it was only as of the last few years that Swift was weaponized. And only of the last year, really, the BRICS nations have risen to a high level of power and influence. And they're trying to roll out their new system. They're working on it every single day. What does it do to the price of XRP if they're actually in on moving all the money? Now, all the money doesn't have to mean that all the money as we know it now. But if XRP is at the crux of moving all of these different, well, I think we're going to move a lot outright, but let's put CBDCs in there also. Let's say XRP and XLM are moving these CBDCs around. and stable coins, which are just light versions of CBDCs. And you have XRP for wholesale, a few retail payments here and there, but mostly wholesale, interbank payments. Then you have XLM for retail. Man, there's so much stuff we have to cover today. What does it do to the price of those assets, XRP and XLM? In a multipolar world, this is what they've been saying, not what I'm saying. This is what they've been saying, but I see it also. That needs an agnostic bridge, a neutral mover of funds, of capital. Who's in that prime position more than XRP, XLM, and Algorand? They've been at it the longest. They have the most use cases. They have the most trust. They have the most connections with legit banks, legit partnerships, not hearsay. I don't think people see what's coming. Swift has 11,000 banks. We can take at least 2,000 of them. You let me know in the comment section. What do you think? But I'm just showing all of those. If all of those banks are healthy like QNB, that price is going to go higher than most people think. Just my humble opinion. So now let's continue on here with the NFTs. So then you have the NFT. At this point, I don't even care about NFTs, honestly. When I'm thinking about the bank money is what really gets me excited. NFT activity is just sprinkles on the top. That's how I feel. It's just sprinkles on the top. If we're moving trillions of dollars per day at some point, listen, 5 to 10 years, whatever. I don't think it's going to take that long. It might, and I'm patient. I'm willing to wait. I'm talking about to get to those trillions, quadrillions. You realize that we could be moving quadrillions. That's not just a nice title for a video. Trillions, if we're moving trillions per day at some point, and it obviously that's quadrillions per year. What does it do to the price of XRP? This is logical. And that's easy if we're talking thousands upon thousands of banks. You tell me, am I being irrational here? Looking at the capital, we've covered dozens of banks at this point. Looking at their financials over the last few years that we've had the channel. Is it illogical to think that there's an explosion coming? If at some point in the future, we're moving that type of capital for thousands of banks? Let's move on here. So then we have this little article here from Ripple.com. And I just want to read this little tidbit. It says here, NFT partner spotlight, Crosstower. I just want to read the answer here. It says, Crosstower is a crypto and NFT marketplace founded in 2019 that operates in US, India, and Bermuda. Its goal is to make digital assets accessible to both retail and institutional market participants. Crosstower provides an easy-to-use NFT marketplace that allows companies, sports teams, celebrities, entertainment studios, artists, and creators to launch their NFT projects on the XRPL ledger with ease. Look at, they're taking the Algorand path. They want to share in that domination. Celebrities, they made sure that was in the first 3. Companies, boom. Big money. Sports teams, big money, celebrities. That's what I love about Ripple. They're just one of many. You got Volante. You have so many other companies building on the XRPL. But I love that about Ripple as well as Volante also. Volante is really just going after that bank money. So I really, really enjoy what they're doing. But Ripple, no matter what they get into, they want that big money and they don't make it a secret. And they go after it with a voraciousness that is unequaled. I love that. Yeah, go after the sports teams, celebrities, companies. There's room for competition there. There definitely is. And you could take a few of those billions. That's definitely going to be nice sprinkles on top to move that price a little bit. But is that 100% something that I really hinge my excitement about XRP on? Absolutely not. My excitement when it comes to XRP is interbank payments, that bank money. That's my excitement. That's what's really going to move that price. Let's continue on here. It says, by leveraging its expertise in trading, technology, operations, regulations, and compliance, right? So that they can't stop it. They can't stop what's coming. We have to make sure we're green, compliant, secure, all of that stuff. So guess what that means? That capital will flow without any problems. We don't need any problems at all. And so far we haven't had any. Let's hope we don't. And that money is is almost certain. Cross Tower empowers its users and creators to explore the possibilities of NFTs. I'm going to stop right there. We have a few more articles to get to. So I wanted to cover this little one here from Stellar. It's Stellar related. Anything that has to do with blockchain in the Ukraine is Stellar related because all of their infrastructures, at least this is what they said, all of their infrastructures will run, digital infrastructures will run on Stellar, XLM. So National Bank of Ukraine has expressed a mixed stance on cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin after a year of redacted in the country. Isn't that interesting? Do you see how this is going? How not only Stellar, but Ripple, Algorand, they're all trusted by all these governments. They're in good. When there's regulatory clarity, everything else is going to be crushed. But the bank coins will thrive. They have a problem with Bitcoin, which is interesting. That's interesting. They don't have a problem with Stellar. They don't have a problem with XLM. That tells you a lot about the respect, the trust, how integral we are as a part of the new financial system. You think that price is going to stay where it is right now? I'm just asking a question. It's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Doesn't matter to me what you do at all. I'm here for that bank money. And right now, the National Bank of Ukraine is pretty much, if you're looking at the full scope of everything, it's pretty much saying, hey, we love Stellar. We love XLM. But Bitcoin? I don't know. Which Bitcoin is a representative of all the rest of crypto. So really, if I boil it down, this is just my own thoughts. I'm not asking you to agree with me. But if I boil it down, what they're really saying is we trust the bank coins. We don't trust the rest of crypto. That's what it sounds like to me. Tell me, am I reading that wrong? Are you seeing similar here? Yeah, I think with 360 degrees of mental clarity, for lack of a better word. That's how I try to do. I try to see things in a full way, not a 180 degree way. And I try to look below the surface because people speak in a multidimensional way, even if most don't want to recognize that. The way a person looks at you, speaks, leans their head, it tells you everything. It tells you multiple things all at once, I mean. Their sentences are trying to tell you multiple things. We as beings, even though it's not recognized often, are multidimensional in the way that we think. We're layered is what I'm trying to say. Sorry about that. Maybe I shouldn't say multidimensional, but we're layered. Everything is layered. Sentences are layered. Multiple degrees of some type of meaning we're trying to convey. So I try to think that way when I'm reading these types of documents. Let's continue on here. It says the Central Bank of Ukraine sees both good and bad in digital assets. Interesting, right? So in my opinion, the bad would be the rest of crypto. The good would be the bank coins. Taking a more skeptical approach to crypto due to financial and economic issues caused by the invasion, according to the NBU press office. Isn't that an interesting statement? Think about it. The only way they can say such a thing is that they're speaking about regular crypto. Its volatility, its lack of liquidity at times. But the good would be the bank coins. They don't lack liquidity. As a matter of fact, they specialize in on-demand liquidity and instant liquidity. And secure. It says here, in April 2022, the NBU prohibited citizens from buying cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin using the national currency, the hryvnia, only allowing such... That stuff, see, I don't really need to know because it doesn't matter. And even if they do use Bitcoin, here's the good thing. Even if they do use Bitcoin, they're just going to run it across Stellar, just like in El Salvador. They're using Bitcoin, but it's running across Algorand. They're moving it across Algorand. Same thing happens here. So no matter what they choose to do, it's going to be good for Stellar. You want to use XLM outright? Use XLM outright. You want to run your CBDC stablecoins across Stellar? That's great as well. You want to run Bitcoin across Stellar? Bring it on. Bring all of it. It's all good for us. So that's just a little update here from the Ukraine, okay? So now let's move on to another article here. We have a few more things to get through, okay? So then Stellar's bringing in more heavy hitters. You see how they're positioning themselves? They're getting ready for a run. They're getting ready for domination. There must be big partnerships they want to close, and they're probably close. They just needed one last piece. Maybe this is it. This is a tweet from Donnell Dixon. It says, Asif's track record of driving innovative technologies in financial services and scaling the real-world application of blockchain technology is more than impressive. SDF and the Stellar ecosystem are lucky to have you. Then Stellar, there's a subtweet here. Stellar at Stellar.org. Join us in welcoming Asif Herji, president of at MoonPay, to the SDF board of directors. Asif's extensive experience in fintech makes him a perfect fit for our mission of creating equitable access to financial services for all. Stellar they've been making so many moves this year. Why? They know the writing's on the wall. Didn't Brad Garlinghouse tell everyone he thinks this year is the year of regulations? Then we see regulations pouring out around the world, trickles of mass adoption. And usually the West is last at everything anyway. They always get everything last. They get all the best phones last. They get all the best technologies last. And they probably will roll out regulations last as well. But if or when that happens, it's just my humble opinion, Stellar will go absolutely berserk with partnerships. They're bringing in the people that can make it happen now, like Asif Herji. Look into his background. Hey, you have to know who's running the companies. Who are the minds that are pushing it forward? Who are the engineers? Who are the developers? Who are the designers? Who's the CEO? Who's the COO? You have to know this. A strong team brings the money. And look at what they're doing here. All right, so now let's move on to another one here. They're telling. They're telling. It doesn't get much more clear than this tweet right here from Stellar.org. It says, quote, "The truth is that regulation will take us into the mainstream." Mainstream is mass adoption. Regulation, obviously, is the only way we can have mass adoption outright. They're telling everybody, hey, they're telling them the catalyst right here. The people are still not going to listen. So they're saying when there's regulation, we'll have mass adoption. What does that mean? By reading that and hearing what else Danelle was saying in other interviews, like the one, there's a video on YouTube of Danelle Dixon doing an interview, and Danelle Dixon is saying, I love it. Danelle Dixon said something like, oh, well, when I sit down with all of these central banks, now I'm paraphrasing, of course. She alluded to multiple central banks sitting down and having discussions with her. Listen, you take that and then you take this about regulation is what it will take us into the mainstream or mass adoption, however you want to interpret it. What we're looking at is a massive run. They're holding back. This is what it's telling you. They're holding back because of regulation. My humble opinion, but I mean, you can read this for yourself, make your own interpretation. It says, in my opinion, there's more. This is deep. They're telling. It says, in my opinion, regulation is best when it's focused at the principal level, like interoperability. Listen, chances but cause and effect unrecognized. There is no way. I'm telling you, they've been focused on Soroban for the longest, haven't they? Oh, Soroban. All of a sudden, you had the Bank of International Settlements dropping multiple documents about interoperability. Then what was the other one? I think it was it Amphif? Also talking about interoperability. Lack thereof. Then you had a few experiments they released, right? The projects and such. And it was all about interoperability. All about it. Then you have, they specifically released these 2 sentences. This is highly curated language. This is what they chose to put out on their Twitter for a reason. And they're talking about interoperability because they know the CBDCs lack interoperability. The stable coins lack interoperability. They've read the documents that we're reading. You think that they're not? There's no way that they're a legit business, and they're not sitting down with multiple advisors, by the way. and going over the documents that we're seeing from the central banks that she claimed that they've sat down with. Which means what? Stellar was always for retail, right? Even though we're going to do some interbank payments. The oldest bank in Europe, Bankhaus Vonderhate, said they wanted to use Stellar for interbank payments. So we're going to do some interbank payments. And I'm pretty sure the infrastructures in Ukraine are going to do interbank payments as well. But that means Stellar knows there's an opportunity to connect all the stable coins in the world and retail CBDCs in the world. They're at the forefront. They are the most trusted. Right next to Ripple. But Ripple, interbank payments. Ripple interbank payments, Stellar retail payments. Let me tell you, no matter which one they're doing, it could theoretically cause that price to skyrocket. That's just logic to me. Without getting too semantical. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. People definitely will let me know in the comment section. I don't think I'm wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. And I'm always willing to learn if you have a different viewpoint. And the more they've held everything back, it's sort of like they're pulling back a slingshot. And when that regulatory clarity comes in, that slingshot gets released. There's only a few weeks. Let me tell you something. There's a few weeks left. This is what they say about the Ripple SEC case. They say there's only a few weeks left. What happens if and when we win that case? We have a victory. Even if we go to Supreme Court, it wouldn't be that long. What happens? We get clarity through that case. And XRP and Ripple make a run. Well, I'll say this. Things are getting interesting very quickly. I have a whole lot of articles, but we may come back tomorrow and do a few more. We may do a few more tomorrow. Look at this. I'm telling you, we're going to take a lot of these banks. Just one more article. One more. It's from zcrypto.com and it's titled, Over 130 U.S. banks have ongoing or planned crypto asset activity. 130. You don't think that there's going to be more? They're so hungry for the new financial system, they can't keep themselves from participating before there's regulatory clarity. Can you imagine how many more will want to play when there is regulatory clarity? Let's read this little tidbit here. Just a little bit here. The number of banks in the U.S. under the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation dabbling with crypto assets has continued to surge. They're being very, very meticulous in the wording that they're choosing to convey a message to the people. Are the people hearing what's going on? I definitely am, but I've always known. Indicating a strong demand for assets such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as crypto-related services. Hey, why don't they throw in the fact that people a lot of these financial institutions been dabbling in the bank coins, building on the bank coins, having meetings with the bank coins. Shh, no, they don't want to say that. They don't want, even though it's easily found. You go to any of the bank coins Twitters, they're telling you about the partnerships. They're telling you who they're sitting down with, right? You can look it up for yourself. You can go to the company's websites. They don't talk about it. They keep it real quiet. Interesting, isn't it? Says here, on this note, a report published on February the 16th by the FDIC Office of Inspector General revealed that as of January 2023, approximately 136 banks were either involved or planning to venture into crypto-related businesses. Guess what, folks? They lack interoperability. They don't have anything set up yet. They're just dabbling. Who do you think they're going to look to for help? Who do you think is just looming over them like a wolf ready to gobble them up? Stellar. Algorand. I firmly believe they are the two that will dominate the United States as far as retail. Working with banks, commercial banks and businesses. And Ripple will dominate everywhere else. All the interbank payments, Ripple will dominate. That's just my humble opinion. If you feel differently, I can respect that. Says notably, these banks have arrangements with third parties that allow bank customers to buy and sell crypto assets due to the lack of clear regulations. So regulations have kept you from setting up infrastructure, has it? Which means you're going to need infrastructure, which means you're going to have to come to us, which means that money's going to flow. We're going to dominate these people, like I swear. Oh boy. Banks also provide account deposit services as well as custody and lending services to crypto exchanges. That's cute. We don't need you. You need us. Listen, you don't benefit us in any possible way other than not standing in our way. Other than that, we could dominate outright. All they have to do is give us regulatory clarity. You're going to see something happen that's special, I believe. That's it. We offer wallets. We offer accounts that can move money back and forth just like banks. But because of a lack of regulatory clarity, you're still able to stay in the game without getting your hand forced. You're going to congeal with us. The banks are going to congeal with us, or they're going to be forced. When there's regulatory clarity, if ever we do get it, they'll be forced to congeal with us. They can't compete with us, and we will take that money. They will hand us the money. That's just my humble opinion. I think I'm operating with sound logic right now. I really do. I'm not being so technical or semantical, rather, for lack of a better word, but I'm conveying the pure feelings that I have. Or not pure feelings. These are not feelings, right? Pure thoughts. My apologies. It says, as per the report, approximately 52 million Americans, or 16% of the population, have purchased cryptocurrencies. Of these 46,000, come on now, they got to put the negative in there. Why do they always do this? They're addicted to the negative. Just tell us the information that's useful. Give us the tools that we need. Give us the information that's useful to us. Leave everything else out. That other stuff is not important. It already occurred, and it did not occur with the bank coins. So anyway, now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.